Guten Tag alle zusammen and welcome to Pilbology. This is a beginner's level video which is looking today at verb endings. Now in particular these are regular verb endings. Now verbs in German are quite straightforward. The regular verbs always follow the same pattern, okay? And we're going to look at that now. We'll take two regular verbs. One is trinken, to drink, and the other one is schreiben, to write. Schreiben comes from scribe, even sounds quite similar to scribe something. A scribe was a term used for quite a long time ago for someone who used to write things down. Think of the ancient Egyptian scribes, schreiben. What we do in German is we take the root or the core of the verb. So in this case it would be trink and schreib. And when we're conjugating, so breaking them down to find the endings, quite simply all we do is we knock off the en. And then we replace that with something. So let's just look very quickly at the verb trinken. You would maintain the trink and quite simply add the following endings. For ich, you would add an I, du, st, sie, es, he, she, it, t. Wir has an en, so trinken. Ihr, you plural, adds a t, ihr trinkt. And sie, so either polite form, so if you're talking to the mayor or to a teacher, you wouldn't say du, you would say sie. Or it also means they, as in Marta and Tim go swimming. They go swimming, which also has an en ending. That pattern stays the same all the time for regular verbs. Okay, so ich trinke, du trinkst, sie es trinkt, wir trinken, ihr trinkt, sie trinken. Quite simply, you have to know this. Let's do one more. Well, before we start, see if you can have a go at conjugating the verb schreiben using trinken as an example. Pause the video and do that now. Okay, so well done. Your answers should look like this. You should have the E, the ST, the T, the EN, the T, and the EN. Now, there's normally an exception to the rule, but in this case there isn't. But here's a couple of tips. One of the most common corrections that needs to be made with German is when you come across these two words here, they and who, because people oftentimes aren't sure which form of the verb to use. Now, in the case of they, it would be sie. But how does that actually work? Well, they is a plural. And the most common error that I see is when we're talking about your parents or some friends. So they would normally be replaced with a plural, so a couple of names, or just a plural word. So my brothers, for example, or my sisters are. So what I mean is they are, in which case it would be sie sind, with the verb sein. Or my brothers write, they write, sie schreiben. Okay? So they is a plural, and it generally replaces a plural word, either brothers, sisters, uncles, parents, or, quite simply, put in another way, two names. So let's take Carl and John. Okay? Carl and John write. Carl und John schreiben. The second one is the word who. Well, who writes letters? Okay, so who actually takes the third person, it's called the third person singular. So the sie, es form. So they takes the sie here, but who takes the sie, es form, meaning he, she, it. Okay? So, for example, if I want to say who writes letters, I would have to say, wer schreibt, and the word for letters in German is Briefe. Okay? The important thing being, wer schreibt. All right? Another example, just as a quick tip, would be when you are referring to someone in the third person. Now what that means is you're saying, what is he doing? What is she doing? What is she drinking? I quite like the look of that. What is she drinking? Okay. Again, that uses the third person singular. Okay. So for example, if I want to say, what is Joanna doing? I would say, was macht Joanna? Or Joanna, depending how you want to pronounce it. Fragezeichen. Okay, so those are a few tips on verbs. Know this, practice this, and you'll be fine. It stays the same every time. Tschüss.